We are still on the topic of plant organs, the shoot system, specifically the seed. The seed is the ripened or fertilized mature ovule, and it contains the embryo which will give rise to a new plant. The most important function of a seed is to provide nutrients and protect the developing embryo. Some seeds undergo a period of dormancy to protect the embryo from unfavorable conditions, and this will be discussed in a separate lecture. Seeds can also be consumed as food because it is rich in protein, fiber, minerals, and vitamins, like lentils, sesame, pumpkin, chia seeds, and many more. It is also the basic unit for sexual propagation in plants, since again, it contains the embryo which will develop into a new plant. Seeds are further classified based on the number of cotyledon and their moisture content during storage. Based on the number of cotyledon, we have monocot and dicot. Monocot from the word mono, meaning one, and cot, referring to the cotyledon. Monocot seeds are those with single or one cotyledon, such as corn, rice, other cereals, and plants belonging to the family Poaceae. Dicot, on the other hand, di meaning two. So these seeds have two cotyledons, such as the legumes, squash, citrus, avocado, and mango. This is a typical structure of a dicot seed, and we will discuss each part one by one. The testa, or the seed coat, is the outer covering of the seed. It serves as a protective barrier for the developing plant inside, and this arises from the integuments of the ovule. The micropyle, micro meaning small, and the word pyle from the Greek word pule meaning gate. Thus, micropyle is a tiny hole through the seed coat. This hole originated from the ovule that initially serves as a passage for sperm to fertilize the egg. It is retained in the seed after fertilization, and it aids in germination by allowing water to enter the seed during imbibition. This is also the site where the root will emerge. Next is the hilum. The hilum is the scar from the funiculus. The funiculus is analogous to the umbilical cord in animals. In this figure, this is the funiculus. It is the structure that attaches the parent plant to the seed. Once the seed is removed or detached from the parent plant, the hilum is formed. Therefore, the hilum is equivalent to a person's belly button. Cotyledon is the embryonic leaf or the seed leaf of seed-bearing plants. It contains the energy-storing proteins that nourishes the embryo as it grows. The embryo is the young developing plant, and it is further divided into different parts. The epicotyle is the part of the embryonic stem above the embryonic attachment of the cotyledon. So this is the embryonic attachment of the cotyledon, and this is your epicotyle. The plumule is the top or tip of the embryonic plant, and it represents the young shoot of a plant that includes the first two leaves, meristem, and shoot. The hypocotyle is the part of the embryonic stem that is below the attachment point of the cotyledons, and it is directly above the embryo's root or the radicle. Now let's proceed to the structure of a monocot seed. In monocots, seed coat is divided into testa and tegmen. These layers are tightly fused together with the pericarp or the fruit wall. The endosperm is the large starchy organ where the nutrients for the growing embryo is stored. The alurone layer is a proteinaceous layer of cells, which can be a single layer in the case of corn or multi-layers like 3 layers in the case of barley. This surrounds the endosperm and secretes or produces enzymes during seed germination. These enzymes are necessary for the breakdown of the starch, lipids, and proteins stored in the endosperm. The single cotyledon in a monocot seed is called a scutellum. So this is the scutellum, this is the endosperm, and as I have said earlier, there is a layer of cell that surrounds this endosperm. So there is a vascular connection between the scutellum and the embryo. The products of the degradation of the endosperm and the allurone layer are absorbed by the scutellum and transported to the embryo. So this is the embryo and this is the vascular connection. So therefore, the scutellum can be seen to be an absorptive organ and not a storage organ. So as I have said, that is the embryo and it is further divided into parts. The plumule, which represents the shoot, is protected by a sheath referred to as the coleoptile. So this is the plumule. This is the plumule and this is your coleoptile. And the coleorhiza is the protective sheath that surrounds the radicle or the embryonic root. So the coleorhiza and the radicle. Now let's discuss the type of seeds based on the moisture content during storage. So we have the orthodox seeds, recalcitrant, and the intermediate seeds. The orthodox seeds are those seeds that can be dried to a low moisture content, around 5 to 12 or less than 12%, and they can be stored below freezing temperature such as -20 degrees Celsius for a long period of time without losing their viability. Usually these seeds are small in size, like the cereals, legume, carrot, eggplant, and pepper seeds. Orthodox seeds can tolerate desiccation and has a long storage lifespan. They can also undergo a period of dormancy of about 5 to 10 years. Recalcitrant seeds, on the other hand, are those seeds that require high moisture content, so about 20 to 30%. These seeds are sensitive to desiccation, and loss in moisture content leads to rapid loss in viability. This type of seeds are hard to store, such as mango, jackfruit, tea, neem, rubber, and they are usually maintained in field gene banks or living plant collection, or via cryopreservation. Lastly is the intermediate seeds. These are seeds that are neither orthodox nor recalcitrant but share some features. So intermediate seeds can be dried to a moisture content of around 10 to 20%. It can also be stored by freezing. However, intermediate seeds age faster than orthodox seeds. Thus, the viability of the seed is only within 5 years.